worse. Hey everybody, welcome to Gauntlet Comics, which is a living campaign and part of the Gauntlet community's games. In Gauntlet Comics, so Gauntlet Community first is the community of online tabletop role-playing game fans and aficionados. And there's also LARP, and we play story games and small book games and indie stuff and OSR, all of that together. You can find more out about the community at gauntlet-rpg.com. I strongly recommend it. It's a great place to meet fellow gamer friends who want to do these crazy pretend elf games. Gauntlet Comics is a slice of that. It's a living campaign where multiple GMs will collaborate together on creating kind of a shared world of what is Gauntlet Comics, kind of a pretend comic book imprint, like a DC or a Marvel. Actually, a little more like, if you know enough comics, it's a little more like a Vertigo or a Wildstorm, like a flavor of an entire label, all centered around a shared setting that stems from New Gauntlet City, which is kind of a Midwestern U.S. made-up city. It might look a little bit like St. Louis for anyone that knows what St. Louis looks like. If you don't, it looks nothing like it. It's this wholly unique thing that you would never recognize. And so we have a wiki, and people create characters, and sometimes they'll be from one game system, and they get to see those characters. And then another GM might look through and go, oh, this thing that Alexi did over here in Untaker's Row looks really cool. I might snag a few of those villains. Somebody might do that. Someone might be doing that right this second, and then they can drop that into the existing campaign. It's wonderful, and it's collaborative, and it's great that we all get to have the shared imagined space. This is the third of 4 sessions of Project Lycra. What is that? Well, for those who have played Masks: A New Generation, the short pitch is it's grown-up masks with all the feels. If you don't know quite what that is, it is a Powered by the Apocalypse game where folks are playing adult superheroes existing in a comics-like world, dealing with the issues of the trust that others have in them, as well as bolstering up their own confidence, working together with a team to make the world better. And that is my current, off the top of my head, pitch for the game that Jen is writing, and Jen is with us. She is the game's designer. I am just proud to be able to be part of the people that are hopefully helping in any way, and running it is always fun. So there you go. Selfishly, I get what I want. And we are a third of the way through, and we are bringing in a brand new character. So Leah is going to be introducing her character, but first let's remind ourselves of our existing members of the True Colors. It was, I think at one point I may have said 4 colors, but we have 5 now, so it can't be 5, so it's True Colors. Eidolon and the True Colors. Of course, we'll have to end with Eidolon, which means we will start with the big guy. Dan, how are you this evening? Please remind us of your character.
I am Dan, and I'm playing the Silver Maple from the, let me see here. He's from the Changed category, or the Changed playbook. He is an recently estranged family man and dad who has, due to some unknown curse, been turned into a giant tree monster. He's moved to the city. He's getting used to his strange new body and abilities and the absence of his wife and children.
Nice summation. Oh, thank you so much, Dan. Chris, please tell us how you're doing and remind us of your character.
I'm Chris. I'm doing pretty good, and I'm going to be playing the Defender playbook. The character is El Aguila Azul. He is a superhero luchador. And he is very heroic. He is very earnest. He is very serious about what he is doing. And because of all that, he also sounds a little bit goofy sometimes. So
He sounds goofy, but he means it. And that's important. Jen, our game designer and fellow player, how are you this evening? And please remind us of your character.
I am doing all right this evening. I am playing Sylvia Hawthorne, aka Trace. She's the interloper. That is her playbook. So she is a non-powered somebody who, regardless of not having powers, is still running around doing things in this superheroic world. She is a former Olympic athlete and still a current martial artist, fluent in capoeira, baguasheng, gosh, what else? Two other ones that are good.
Jeet Kune Do.
No, it's judo and Wing Chun. There
Nice.
we go. Have it on a list.
Nice.
I think, however, that she might one day synthesize her own martial arts style and call it Yeet Kune Do. You're
Nice. I had to remove a comics pun earlier, so I'm very happy that we slid one in. Nature abhors the pun vacuum. Appreciate that, Jen. And then of the established colors, we now get to meet Eidolon.
Hi, I'm Patrick. I'm playing Eidolon, Hector Corazon. He's the focused playbook, which is one power that would seem limiting, but he finds a myriad of different ways to use it and apply it to any situation. Sort of a little bit of crossover with Fata Morgana in that he's got light control. It's very Dazzler from Marvel Comics, where he can turn sound into light. It's an ability that he's had since he was very young, but it's been growing over time. So it's only been recently that it's come into like a really strong form. So he is trying to make that transition from like child YouTube pop star to actual superhero, or more specifically, he has made that transition and he's trying to convince the world that he's not just some celebrity playing at hero tights, that he's out here, he's really trying to do good, and that he's, you know, someone capable of fighting evil and not just having a killer light show. But he does have a killer light show and an amazing voice, and he does still perform. So, you know, he's all things. He can have it all.
He can have it all. We'll just have to roll dice to see how much of all he enjoys. Leah, please introduce us to your character, and welcome.
Right. So my character is Fata Morgana. Her playbook is the Tarnished. And her power set is that she's, you know, got this facility for illusions, but more from her point of view, her relevant power is she has an uncanny sixth sense for promises, particularly broken promises. And from her point of view, it's all the trouble of being a telepath while also being repeatedly disappointed in pretty much everyone else in the world. She used to try and be a hero by beating people up who broke promises, but that was a lot of people and only 2 fists. So she gave up a little, collaborated with a turned out to be evil scientist, and feels bad about that, and is trying to figure out what she can do to find a middle path between the 2 ways she's dealt with her powers.
Awesome. Now that you have seen the other members of the team that you're already part of, we will develop some relationships for Fata Morgana. So you've got 2 relationships to assign, and then we figure out ties. What relationships did you have on the character playbook?
So my 2 relationships are blank keeps a watchful eye on you, and you've got blank marked they're shadier than they seem. And I have some ideas for those, and I want to run them by the other players to see if they work for them. My instinct is to put in the silver maple keeps a watchful eye on you. I saw that your character is also a dad and is pretty responsible, and I think might feel a sense of responsibility for my screw up. What do you think? All right. And let's see. I think probably, whether right or wrong, she's most suspicious of Eidolon as shadier than he seems, given that pretty much everyone in show business is. Does that work for you?
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Oh no, we've just beepered you. That is lovely. Cool. So ties, let me try to explain that to you, Leah. In ties, you have 5 to hand out. You're going to be in the next 2, this session and the next, so you don't have to fill all 5 of them out right now. I would recommend doing at least 3. Now, the way that it works is that you can have a relationship with someone but not have a tie, and you can have a tie with someone but not have one of the playbook relationships. Ties are purely mechanical, and they are an on or an off state. So if you don't have a tie, that's perfectly fine. If you do have a tie, then you can mark it as a 1. And what that means with those ties is that if you try to help or hinder them, which is in the teamwork moves, because that's the smart place to put that kind of move, even though I struggled to find it last session. But if you help or hinder them, then that 1 tie that you have towards that person will give you a +1. Now, it's a 2-way street. So if they also have a tie with your character, you would get a +2. And vice versa, if they were trying to help you and you both had ties back and forth, then that person would get +2 to help or hinder. So who would you like to start off with some ties to? I see something about Jesse the Puppeteer. This is interesting. Who is this?
I had that in my backstory as the person who's kind of on the wrong side of superheroing, who I stay in contact with.
Ooh, do we have any idea? Did you have ideas of like gender or look for Jesse and their power set?
I think Jesse is a guy, and his power set's a little hard to pin down because he's by his nature mostly a con man. So he's usually always dressed as something different when I go out drinking with him. He's made a lot of claims to me about the extent of his power set and how much of it is actual, emotional manipulation, memory seeding, and how much of it is, he's good at getting people to believe him when he says that is something I still haven't worked out. But I like that he's honest about lying, which no one else really is.
Cool. Yeah, that is great. I like Jesse the Puppeteer. Who else did you want to have ties with? Just bouncing back here.
Yeah, I think I might take a tie with, and let me check that I've got the pronunciation right, El Aguila Azul. Is that correct?
It's
I
a
did
hard
French.
It's a hard G. It's like El Aguila Azul.
Aguila Azul. Thanks. I've got French, and it does not lead me in the right direction for all Romance languages. But yeah, I think the the idea that you've been entangled with someone I've been entangled with seems like a good basis for a tie here.
And plus, El Aguila Azul's powers actually come from Dr. Maximilian's evil experiments. So
yeah,
it's a good idea to kind of like keep that in mind around him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think I might add one more just for Eidolon, who it sounds like, based on the team name, is the team leader, and who I think probably took something of a chance on me.
Cool. I was thinking I still have a tie free, and I was thinking I was going to take one with you.
Nice. So, Eidolon, what is it about Fata Morgana that like you felt like she deserved a place on your team? I love just like leading into this, it being Eidolon's team thing. Sorry.
I think we've worked together before in the sense of like, I think she saved my ass in some situation that was very close to like catching on fire.
I'm up for that.
Cool. All right, with that done, we have your character statted out. There is a thing I'd like to do at the top, and this is just Rich determining that to fuel parts of the playtest and to see some things that we haven't had much chance to see. I would like to just fiat someone to have a +2 in either trust or confidence. And then I'd like to, and by fiat I mean also I'm going to ask and someone can volunteer for it. And Leah, since you just joined, like I'd like to see your character as is before we start messing with it too bad. And then I'd also like to ask if someone would be okay with having their confidence or trust at a -2. And as a reward for you taking the hard road, I will give you 1 more team and 1 XP. Or I can have everybody roll dice. Oh, I see a hand come up.
See, I can see Eligila Azul like having the trust problems after the sort of online reaction after their fight with Superia. Like his trust had gone down a little bit before, and maybe him doing the open challenge to the evil alien overlord kind of made people think that was what the heck is he doing? Why hasn't he let the diplomats handle this?
Yes. Yes, I love it. I can see it. There's an established website in Gauntlet Comics called sia.com, and sia.com is really big about like unmasking superheroes and talking the real truth. And I think that there might be like an entire forum there that's dedicated to trash talking, and they're all upset. You are trending downward. So take that -2 to your trust. However, that will push your team up by 1, so you'll be the team 2, and you get an XP, a sweet, sweet experience point for that.
And the CIA website is also very frustrated with Eligila Azul because he literally does not remove this mask.
Yeah, we're like cut.
He eats at restaurants with this thing on. I mean,
we cut to like a scene of just his upper body, and he's in a shower, and like he's washing underneath the mask.
If you've ever watched any of the like El Santo and Blue Demon movies, like that's exactly like they come out of the shower and they've got like a towel around their shoulders and their mask is still on.
It's so good.
I love that he eats in public with it since it has no mouth hole.
Yes, it has like a like part that can fold up for that, just for that purpose.
That's for eating and kissing girls upside down or something.
Of course,
basically.
Of course. I mean,
Okay.
these are things that a luchador has the responsibility to do for the public.
Or maybe I should just say others, kissing others upside down. Cool. That is lovely. And so now, what's the juice? Who wants to get juiced up here? Get super confident or super trustable? All right. It makes sense that Trace would be flying high. The last that we saw her, she was literally flying high, doing this impossible stunt of being underneath Meridon's flying disc. So which one? Are you pumping up the confidence to 2? Great. Now, just to peel back a little bit, the reason that I want to see these things in play is that we do have basic moves that are trust aligned and confidence aligned. And as your confidence track goes up, you get that benefit for all confidence aligned moves. Once you get to the point where you are overburdened, if your trust is too high, or overconfident, which like if your confidence is too high, it makes sense. It makes sense, right? And but then when you roll high, because that track will keep going up to the possibility of a +3. Once you start hitting those 12 pluses on those moves, you get results that you didn't intend. So it's kind of an interesting thing, and I want to see it in play because I think it's pretty darn fascinating. So that is why I've asked you guys to make some significant adjustments to your tracks. Thank you very much for that. So what we're going to do now is we do the opening of issue 3. And we reused a little bit of art, but we do it from a slightly different angle. It's obvious that it's like basically the same kind of poses, but maybe a slightly different POV. Is that we see Myrmidon rising, Myrmidon, who is the consortia gladiatorial warrior priest who has challenged you guys to a fight. And then if he wins, he says that he will enslave all of Earth. I'm not sure how that maps over in Earth laws, but in Consortia, it's totally fine to make that kind of type of declaration. And Myrmidon is very much a Kirby-style villain. In fact, so much so that if you know the art of Kirby, you'll know exactly which character I'm using because I just love that art. And Myrmidon is on a flying disc. He has these Ioun stone-style drones. He has exhibited that he had some kind of access to laser spray emitters. And he has enhanced strength. He's 7 feet tall. He is a beefy dude. In fact, he might remind you of Gladiator if anyone reads X-Men or knows about any of the cosmic adventures there. So there's a little bit of mix of that for Myrmidon. He had just declared this this challenge, and he was challenging Elegila Azul as well as Silver Maple to this fight. And you guys were coming to meet him, and that's when we saw Trace like out of nowhere over near Aeon, the kind of Men in Black of our Gauntlet Comics setting. Men in Black meets Agents of kind of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of deal, like that's the mix-up. We had Ilan, who was having a conversation with officials there, and one of them believed that hold on, I'm trying to grab the name to remind myself. Do I not have him there? Oh, very well. There was a particular agent who had grabbed Eidolon and accused him of being the fake Eidolon, but it turns out that it was not even an Eidolon at all. It was merely an illusion, and the real Eidolon was beating feet and trying to get back to everyone else to help out with the big fight. And if I remember correctly, Eidolon's sister had like pulled up outside of the Aeon headquarters and was driving quickly towards the others as they were in Undertaker's Row, which is a particular neighborhood in New Gauntlet City. Any aspects of our quick little synopsis that you guys want to make sure I sneak in? Any detail that I've missed that you think is pertinent? Okay. So we start with all of that in that big opening splash page, and the expectation of the reader is that when they turn that page, they're going to see some crazy action, the kind of stuff to where the gutter, that border between the panels might be broken, with people getting thrown all over the place. That's the expectation they have, but instead it says previously, and we go into a flashback. And in this flashback, it's very dark, it's very Frank Miller-esque, but without nearly the offensive comments of Frank Miller, the person, just his art and style when he made comics back in the day, back when we liked him. So Frank Miller is very dark, lots of heavy blacks and dark blues, very noir. And we see that there's a long alleyway with a street light that has just a shaft of light before it, and that is when we see Fata Morgana, the tainted, or not the tarnished, and I think that in this Fata Morgana there is a particular individual that you are trying to hunt down. They are a bird-themed operative with an arsenal of bladed weapons and mystical powers. This is an editor's note. They call themselves Corvid. And I will share a quick little chat link to who that is. Yes, that's absolutely right, Chris. In the just only kind of yes. So we have Corvid, who is the person that you are trying to hunt down. So Fata Morgana, who is it among the True Colors? Who is it that you're working with to try to take Corvid down? And then when you name that person, I'm going to ask them, what are the most recent crimes that Corvid has committed to deserve being hunted down?
Trace, you up for this?
Hell yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So when we clever clever readers may see Trace somewhere in the background, as we, of course, the shaft of light is focused on Fata Morgana, but perhaps we see Trace. What would she be doing? And you don't have to use up your impossible thing. We'll just draw you in and say it's good.
Cool. Trace also does a lot of parkour, a lot of like actual cool free running shit, not just jumping off the side of the building, shouting parkour really loud. So she's probably doing like a body prop on some second story construction, whether it's like inside of a window well or between a couple of buildings.
Oh yeah, we totally see a couple panels of Corvid appearing in a puff of like black feathers, running away from Fata Morgana, and Corvid runs right past you, and you're propped up, and he doesn't even notice you. Just making sure I didn't misgender Corvid. I don't think there's a gender that's been assigned, but the drawing looks male-ish, so I'm just going to use the male gender to describe Corvid for now, for the reader of our comic. What is the crime that Corvid is currently committed? I can give you a brief list if you need some suggestions, unless you have an idea.
We just don't know who you're asking.
Oh, I'm sorry. I am asking Sylvia.
Probably kidnapping.
Awesome. Okay, so he has kidnapped.
Maybe an attempted kidnapping, and he's trying to get away from the scene.
No, he's attempted another kidnapping, but he recently had kidnapped none other than Alison Corazon. And that's what brought you guys into the case. This is a flashback, so we know Alison's alive. But at some point, she's been kidnapped, and it's now. It's now in the flashback. Alison Corazon has been kidnapped, but it looks like Cora was trying to grab someone else. And then I'm going to ask El Aguila Azul. So I've heard that you might have a little bit of an inside track on knowing about Corvid. I've heard that you think that he's a turd. And so Corvid, what is he after? Is he just after simple money? Or is this some kind of power play? Or is why is he kidnapped Alison Corazon as well as failed in the attempt to kidnap this other person?
Corvid is somebody who talks a big game, but is usually working for somebody else. So like his immediate motives might not be as important as the motives of whoever he's working for now after Mr. Hearst, his former employer, got headbutted into hell.
Did you say his former employer was headbutted into hell?
Oh yes, the Eon After School program series. That special after school special version of New Gauntlet City Comics. So
yeah, just the phrase "headbutted into hell." I just wanted to highlight that.
It was very literal.
Great, cool. So this is, of course, easily an action sequence. As Corvid is now trying to run away from Fata Morgana. Fata, because we're being introduced to you, I am curious. You have the first reaction. What do you want to do?
Let's see. He's in the process of running away, so I'm just taking a look at the basic moves. I'm interested in tricking someone, I think, to get him to run in the wrong direction, right where Trace can grab him.
Okay. Cool. So when you trick someone, roll with genius. And how is it that you're tricking him?
Yeah, so I think I'm using my illusions, kind of weaving them lightly, kind of fading them in to funnel him in the wrong direction.
I like it. All right, we do have a role for your party. Let me drop that link to you. It's at the bottom of the character keeper. I want to make sure and throw it in here. There you go. It's our favorite newly pretty goblin.
All right. I'm rolling at +1 for this. Make sure I'm in the right one. Yep, +1. And that would be, thank goodness for that +1. It's a 7. So.
Whew. That is just a scraping by, but a success nonetheless. So on a 7 to 9, you choose one of those options. What do you choose?
Yeah, I just pick they buy into the trick because, all I'm trying to do is set Trace up to clobber him when he's not expecting it.
Cool. All right. So you funnel him towards Trace. Trace, your body propped up above Corvid, and you see the Theta has slid in something that makes it look like this alley is a dead-end alley, and so he turns, and now he's running directly underneath you. What do you do?
Oh, I drop on him like a phone call from a hospital.
I think that's a direct confrontation.
Yup.
Roll with daring.
All right. Yeah, that's a 14.
Yeah, so you're daring being a 2. That's pretty great, and that is a confidence aligned move. You are super
Actually, more like
confident.
16. Oops.
Yeah. So, do you need to be? And I'm sorry to ask this question. I should know the answer, but it's when you hit the +3 that you're overconfident, right?
No, it's a +2.
Or is it actually
yeah.
a plus? It's a +2.
Yeah.
Sweet. So you're overconfident.
Yeah,
Yes. Okay. Good.
Yep. Line 4 on basic moves.
Yep, I see a haunt. Okay, good. So any +2 or +2 or +3. Okay,
Yep.
for some reason the +3 stuck in my head. I'm very happy about that because I wanted people overconfident, overburdened, that stuff. So you're currently overconfident. You've
Yep.
rolled a confidence aligned move. So you are successful. You get to choose 2 from the options. But when you're overconfident on a 12 plus, which you certainly are, you must also choose one of those. So hit us with your options. This is going to be fun.
Let's see. Well, I think I'm going to resist or avoid their blows. And probably I drop on Corvid, and then I spool from a little sling bag on my back some cord. And I start out, Corvid tries to punch me. I dodge and get a loop of cord around. And then I, move around to a blind spot and make another loop. Then I dodge a kick and make a new loop around a leg and so on. And so I'm going to take their freedom of movement from them as I do so.
Nice.
But there's not really anybody to witness what I'm up to. I don't feel like dealing heavy collateral damage is applicable, so I'll miss something important.
Awesome. So we see several panels of you very quickly and without taking any harm onto yourself, disarming the blades that Corvid produces from their underneath their cloak, and then you hog-tie them and slam them down into the rain-slick concrete in this alley. And you miss noticing something important. So, Fata Morgana, you unfortunately do see this, but you are out of position as evidently Corvid was not alone and had some backup. And I don't know why I just did that. Why did I just do that? It just turned off my camera. Not that you guys would know because nobody here can see me, just me.
It does look different.
It does look different. How's that? Does that look better? Did it come back?
Nope.
Nope, not yet. Okay. All right, let me try that. That work?
I see you drinking a Pepsi again.
Huh. Okay. Right. So this is not at all frustrating. This is perfectly fine, friends. Okay, let me try this. That work? And Patrick can see me? All right.
There. It's amazing.
It's great. Now you can see my super expressive, crazy face. This individual is Corvid's backup, as he has these crazy big power gauntlets, these large mechanical gauntlets, and looks like he has. If you've read the files, which is an actual thing. How do I unshare? There's how I unshare. There's how I unshare. There we go. It's back. Woo! Ooh, almost broke stuff again. You still can't chant. Dang it! All right, well, one by one. So this person who is I linked in the chat, his name is Rubble Rouser, and he is the backup for Corvid, and he screams out when you drop him to the pavement and says, "No!" And the building behind you starts reverberating and glass shatters, and it looks like he's trying to bring the entire building. He's jumps down from a fire escape where he was hiding, and that is the thing that you've missed that's rather important. So I'm going to ask Fata Morgana, what do? You see that your friend is your teammate at least, is in trouble.
Man, all right. I'm still getting the hang of the basic moves, but I think.
Well, so let me.
Actually, you know what?
All you gotta do is just tell me what you do, and then we'll interpret it into basic moves.
Yeah, I'm just I'm remembering what kinds of things one does. But I'm tempted to, while she's distracted, try and parley with Rebel Rouser to get him to back off.
Oh, okay, cool. So you interpose yourself, trying to calm Rebel Rouser down, perhaps intercede here. That's interesting. Now, I don't think that's a direct confrontation. What is it that you say?
Look, you've lost this one already. He's out. You've got a chance to make a run for it, or you've got a chance to get beaten up. Which are you going to pick today?
Nice. So I think you're trying to persuade someone. So when you persuade
I'd go with that.
Yeah, lay out what you'd like them to do.
I've also got bargaining, but I'm not sure if it pertains. And do I start with team? I do start with team, so I could use that one, I think.
So the trigger for bargaining seems pretty specific. It needs to be outside of a conflict and away from other heroes. So
cool. I wasn't sure if she was distracted enough. Then I'm going to go with persuade.
Yeah, that's a neat one, though. We'll have to try to lean into that and try to set up that move because I think it's cool. I want to see it in play. But let's have you persuade someone right now. That's trust aligned, and you'll be rolling with humanity.
All right, that's a flat roll for me. Let's see where we go. That's a 6 again. So 6, no modifier this time.
So the good news is you get an experience point. And the bad news is that I get to say what happens. So you move to try to interpose yourself, but that's when you realize that Rebel Rouser has these weird little earphone things on, and he's not even here. You don't even get through to him. And so he actually brings down part of the building, and I want you, specifically you, although really Trace is in the area as well, but I want you to weather the blow of a building being toppled on you. Yeah, it's pretty bad. So you roll with the absolute value of trust or confidence. Both of them are 0. And rolling high is bad.
All right. Well, dice, stick with me here. Now it's a 9.
Now you get the 9. Okay. So if you look on the basic moves, there are a few choices there on a 7th 9. It starts at row 20 or 58. Which one did that come from?
The only one I don't understand on this list is a relevant tie is returned and shifts its attitude. What does returned mean here?
So remember I said that it's like an on or an off. So a relevant tie is returned means that you'd effectively zero out that tie would no longer have a mechanical effect.
Gotcha. So it's basically removed or turned off. Yeah, I'd love to pick that you shift my confidence or trust by one.
Yes, yes, sweet. I love it. Sweet, sweet track manipulation. I think that your inability to use your logic and talk this guy down shows that he didn't trust you. And so I'm going to move your trust down by one. Bricks fall. Maybe we have like a cosmetic bit of blood on your forehead there, blood dripping into your eye over your eyebrow. Trace, you're being hit by a building as well. What do you do here?
You say I'm being hit like I was still there when the building fell.
Oh, is that true? All right.
I'm going to grab Corvid and bail.
Sweet. It sounds like you're trying to defend or protect her, right? Because you guys are trying to bail. Or, well, you're trying to escape from peril is exactly what you're doing. Sorry. When you rush to escape from peril, roll with daring. Look at you. You do all these daring maneuvers where confidence is aligned. So good. So smart. Such a clever player. It's like you know this game.
I guess I'd only be able to know it better if I wrote it. Lord. All right, another very high roll. I got a 6 and a 5 on the dice.
Nice, a 6 and 5. So 11 plus 2 plus 2. Is that how that went? Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot.
On a 10 plus, you made a clean getaway. When you're overconfident on a 12 plus, choose one of the following as well. You leave a calling card behind. On top of anything you may leave behind is chosen by the MC. You can't stay away from long. Something pulls you back in.
I'm going to choose that I can't stay away for long.
Interesting. All right. Cool. So let's cut away from the two of you as you make your escape. You run off into the night, away from Corvid and Rebel Rouser. Rebel Rouser runs down to start trying to untie Corvid. I've got you, buddy. I've got you. And we cut to the... Oh... I need some help here, Silver Maple. What is the bird-themed place where Corvid has hidden away Alison Corazon?
Just a name for a place?
Yeah, or like a name for a place is good.
The Aviary springs to mind.
Okay, cool. So like the Aviary at the Gauntlet City Zoo. All right, so there we go, right? Yes, so at the Aviary, the new Gauntlet City Zoo is where the three of you, Elegil Azul, Silver Maple, and Eidolon, your team leader, where you guys are rushing to save Alison Corazon. So Eidolon, what is the approach here as you guys approach the Aviary? It's the zoo, it's at night, there's probably a few security guards here. Maybe they're in cahoots with Corazon or with Corvid. What's the approach?
I mean, fairly reckless near panic. Yeah,
All
like
right.
He's trying to bust in and like yelling out Allison's name and shining lights everywhere and trying to find where she is.
Oh, is it one of those things where like you're using your powers to like lights and stuff? Oh, that's awesome. I really like that. That was one of my favorite parts of the Gifted show, is the guy who had the light powers, and how we just like, I'm a flashlight. It's just like, that's a really smart, mundane use of your cool power. By the way, I think
he's going in. He's like sparkling, shining all over. It's like a full body flashlight sort of thing. Full
body panic flashlight. I love it. And if you guys haven't looked at the alt pick for Eidolon, that is just amazing. I love the neon glow version of Eidolon. Cool. So you burst in, all kinds of birds start flying around all over the place. It's one of those where you know it's encaged and there's all kinds of different species of birds that are here, and you come in with the crazy lights and there's like squawking and pigeons are going crazy, and you see there's a little kind of watery cove area, and you see that there's a person with a hood over their head, and they're bound and lying by the watery area. Looks like they may have even rolled into the water and kind of sloshed their way back out. I would see what, as you're headed that way, Elegil Azul, what are you doing?
Oh, he is acrobatically and with uncanny agility, like springing across like every obstacle. Like, it would be parkour if he wasn't, didn't have the uncanny agility of a superhuman luchador. So in this case, it just looks like he's literally just like floating and occasionally touching something.
Nice.
It's that level of free flow. Just
Beautiful, beautiful. And then Silver Maple, I think, do you stay outside or do you try to come in? Coming in might be a little problematic.
Oh, coming into the aviary itself.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's kind of a tight spot.
Sweet.
So we'll stay outside.
Oh, so when all the birds start coming out, what do you do?
Oh no. I think the Silver Maple tries desperately to catch the birds. These are worth some money. Try to put them back. This is a bad idea. Birds don't like being caught by wooden hands.
Yeah, that could be bad. Cool. So I would like to see. I'd like to put this to a move. I think. Are you wielding your powers here? You're just trying to catch a bunch of birds, but it's a lot of birds. So perhaps. Yeah, I think wield your powers might be the best to do this. So let's have you do that. Go ahead and wield your powers. So when you wield your powers to shift the situation, roll with power.
Okay. Got a +2 in power, and I think both of my tracks are -1. So that's going to be a 1. Let's see. And submit. Oh, we got a 11. That's a 12 with a up 1.
Well, that is awesome. Now the wield your powers is a confidence aligned move. Did you take in the -1 from your confidence track as well?
I did. Yeah, I
okay.
Factored that in. I've got +2 power, -1 confidence.
Right. Okay, that's right. Yes. So you are successful. With the 10+, you choose 2. You can take hold of something, create something useful from your environment, neutralize an opponent or a threat, at least for now. What 2 do you choose?
Let me see here. So I'm going to I think catch a few birds, and also I've got this sort of amorphous flesh. I'm sort of going to create out of myself an auxiliary cage to house some more of these birds, sort of block off their escape.
That's quite lovely. I like that a lot. Yeah, so all of the birds are now in your little enclosure, your tree-like enclosure. And we have Eidolon rushing inside, backed up by El Aguila Azul, and the woman, she looks Alison Corazon sized, but she has that mask on, that like a tarp, kind of like a canvas bag over her head. What do you do?
Still rushing forward heedlessly, like trying to get her, pull that mask off, untie her, unchain her, whatever's going on. We've got to get out of here before someone shows back up.
Sweet. So you rip that bag off, and you see that, yes, it is your sister. It's not a trick. You have found her. You've located her. And she breathes and looks around. What? It's even going on. And you undo the ropes that she's been tied in, and she's got all kinds of
It's going to
feathers.
be all right. We're going to get you out of this nest of evil.
Nice. She's like, you're punning? You're punning on me in this situation? I want God.
You said as my publicist I need to work on my banter, so witty banter. What do you think? We're in an aviary. It's an appropriate pun, at least.
It is appropriate. God, get me out of here. This place smells. So then we cut back. Now this is time when I have to realize what is the thing that you can't stay away for long from. So you make your way to safety, Trace and Fata Morgana. Two of you are on the other side of a car on the opposite side of the street, and you are okay until you hear the sound of a woman crying out, "My baby!" And you see that building had fallen, but then it actually slammed into another building, and that building now has started to catch on fire. That is what pulls you back in. You can't stay away for long. So, what do you do?
Can't say no to some burning building rescue action. I'm going to assume that the collapsed building kind of makes a bit of a ramp to the other building that's starting to experience some fire.
I don't know if you can see me, but I just made the gesture of, oh yes, of course, it must be that.
Of course. So yeah, I will dart my way up that ramp of good ideas and head towards the voice.
Sweet. So I think...
And or, crying baby noises. They're pretty distinct, I hear.
What is Fata Morgana doing?
I think I want to try and figure out what's going on. I'm less good in a physical fight, and if you'll permit this application of my powers, to kind of really, put my hand to the building and get a sense of wherever, zoning or fire safety rules were broken here. And therefore,
so the answer is
kind
going
of
to be...
tracing the history of broken promises to the building itself to figure out how we can safely get in and out.
Assess the situation, and yes, of course, the rules were broken. They had to have been broken.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my plan. I think. Should I go ahead and roll it?
Yeah, go ahead and roll. Assess the situation. Roll with genius.
All right. Let's see. My genius is...
That's a 1.
Da-da-da. It's a 1. All right. Let's see where that takes me.
And your confidence is a 0, so yeah, you just get to roll 2d6 plus 1.
It's a 9. So.
All right, on a 9er, you get 1 question from the list. And assess the situation is on row 40 of the basic moves.
Yeah, I think what I'm going for is I'm kind of
Not row 40. Row 40.
Going through the promises that have been broken to this building. I want to know how we could best end this quickly.
Nice, how you could best end this quickly. So looking around, you realize, and I'm trying to think of your power set along with Trace's power set. You realize that this building in particular is actually condemned, and the woman who is calling out for help must have been squatting there. So the best way to end this quickly is to just remove the folks who happen to be in the building right now, and from looking and feeling the building, you know that the trust breakers are the mother and child who are hiding out there. And so that's how you can best end it quickly, is just to get the 2 of them out of that building. You don't have to actually put the fire out. In fact, perhaps you might be doing the city a service by demolishing it. So, Trace, you were acrobatically running up the broken building. It sounds like, tell me, does this feel like you are trying to, in particular, defend or protect someone? That feels like that's what you're doing, but I want to make sure you weren't leaning towards any other moves. Because I almost wondered if you were pushing your limits in a desperate situation, too. I do like that one so much.
I don't know. I think a defend protect is probably the right call here.
Then I would like to make the right call.
Okay.
Please roll with power.
All right. Plus, also, I mean, if I start dumping my confidence on push your limits bids, I won't be overconfident for much longer.
That's true. That's true.
Oh, snake eyes.
What? Oh my goodness. So the good news is you get an XP.
Yep.
Oh, the bad news is as you run across this building, pieces of the building crumble underneath you, and you fall down through the building, smash into the ground, and yeah, I'd say that you actually got into the building itself, right? But part of the building falls through, and then you go through a floor, you go down into the basement of the should-be condemned building. And yeah, I think I've just got to have you weather the blow there. I think that's what's going to happen here. So yeah, roll with the absolute value of trust or confidence. Oh no, that's very high.
Oh no. Maybe I should have pushed my limits. How could I have foreseen this? All right, so that is an 8.
Oh, just an 8. All right, so on a 7 to 9, you choose one of the following. Foe gains an opportunity. MC shifts your confidence or trust by 1. A relevant tie is returned. It shifts its attitude.
I think I gotta let you shift my confidence or trust.
All right, I will do that. Okay, so you land hard, and yeah, I'm going to go with what's most interesting to me, and it isn't necessarily a quote-unquote punishing thing, but I think it's enough to kind of knock you out of that piece of being overconfident. And so I'm going to shift your confidence track down by 1. I'll go ahead and let you make that mechanical change on the spreadsheet, but I'm going to push your confidence down by 1. All of this high-flying action, capoeira, and free running did not pay off as well as you would like, and you hear off in the distance the crying baby and the woman screaming for help, and you just, this moment, that action didn't work out the way that you planned. So we skip back out to Fata Morgana, and you've made your assessment of the building. You saw Trace fall into the building and disappear out of sight. And that woman, she's now standing in one of the broken windows. She's holding her baby. It's like, just take my baby, please, please. What do you do?
Yeah, I definitely want to try and help these guys out. I just feel like, I need them to trust me enough to kind of walk through parts of the building that are burning, which I'm not sure anyone trusts me that much. So who's a well-respected super in this city?
Well, Eidolon is a very well-respected super. He's got tons of fans. Everyone loves Eidolon. Even fake Eidolon is pretty well liked.
That's what I'm going for. Is I'm going to like duck behind a piece of rubble and come out looking like Eidolon, doing my best job to imitate his voice, which I haven't heard much of. So I just go like, "It's all right. The real pros are here. You can trust me. Come on with me."
So good. Trick someone, please.
Yeah. So, so do you think that's more of a trick or a defend?
That's a fair question. I do think in the end, while you're using a different method, you're trying to protect someone. So I'm okay with that. Let's have you go ahead and roll with power. This is a trust-aligned move, so you do have the -1 from trust affecting.
So I'm rolling this flat. All right. Well, dice. This is a very important roll. Let's see.
But still.
And it's a 6.
Wow.
These dice are no good. I'm deleting them.
Oh my goodness, that is so good. Sweet. So you call out to the girl, and she nods. She knows who Eidolon is. And you're so like, this is working. And we have the thought bubble of, yes, I'm pulling it off. And that's when Corvin comes up from behind you and slices you a couple of times, like, Eidolon, I have your sister. Hack, hack, hack. And he like tries to knock you down. And he hates you so much because you did not cut that record deal with him that one time, and like he is the guy like Corvid XY1111 who's always on all of your feeds, like hating on you and trying to like start hashtags of. He always talks about fake idol, and he's just tackled you, knocks you to the ground. The woman is like, oh crap, there's like a whole fight going on, and so now she's going to try to find some other way to get out of here as this fight happens. So now Corvid's tackled you, he's knocked you to the ground. He's like trying to slice you with this knife, but he's actually.
Can I?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Can I push my limits to try and get those two out of here safely? Whatever is going on with me.
So I think that's interesting, but push your limits is a disparate situation. How do you think? Like, what do you think Fata Morgana is doing? Like, what is it that she's doing to try to push her limits here to be able to save those two?
I think it's really selling the fight between her and Corvid, even though she's mostly getting beaten up in a fair fight, and selling it as enough of a distraction for these two to get away. So leaning heavily on illusions while taking some pretty heavy hits, while pretending to be Eidolon.
All right, let's give it a shot. So when you push your limits in a desperate situation, bid an amount of confidence or trust and roll with the amount bid. You cannot bid more than 4 at a time.
And just to check, do I have to have this amount to bid it, or I'm bidding it will cause the shift?
You're bidding that it will cause the shift.
Okay. Then I'm going to bid 2 of confidence.
All right, you're going to bid 2 of confidence. Let's have you roll +2.
All right. Make a new
Where did those gray dice go? Where did those gray dice go? Those made me happy.
Those dice were bad. I've deleted them. The new dice will remember what happened to them. All right. Oh, the new dice have learned nothing from the old dice's fate. It's a 4. It's a 6.
It's a 6? Okay, good.
Yep.
No, that's a bummer for you. I'm sorry to hear that. Great. So, all right. On push your limits. On a 6-, you lose your bid, and the MC will confront you with an ugly choice. Yeah. So. Here's what we're going to do. The push your limits ugly choice that I have for you is that I'll allow you to buy time for that mother and child to get out. But you'll have to weather a blow, and you have to choose which of the two makes it out without being seriously hurt.
All right. Well, then taking the blow, and I'm making sure the kid gets out more safely than the mom.
Okay. Cool. So let's have you roll weather the blow.
All right. Well, thank goodness I just bid and lost those things, so my modifier to this is high. Let's see. Yes, this is going to be rolling with a +2.
You'll probably roll really high now. That's what you want, right?
Let's see. All right, that's an 11.
All right, great, good job. Oh, by the way, did you mark the XP from before? Because you got that XP from the.
Oh no, I did not.
Yeah, don't forget to mark that XP.
Yeah.
Might as well take it. I think that's like 3 XP for you now.
Yeah, that should be 3 because those were 2 misses in a row. All right.
Yep. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good work. All right. So on a 10+ with weather a blow. You can choose one of the following: remove yourself from the situation, flee, pass out, etc. You lose control of yourself or your powers in a terrible way.
I mean, honestly, I think I just lose this fight pretty hard and pass out and fade back to my normal form when I do it.
Nice.
So I was mostly staying in it by faking that I could land blows.
I love it. Yeah, using your illusion powers, and he thinks that he's hacking up Eidolon, and then finally you lose control of your powers, and he's standing over you, and we see like the dark red pool of blood that kind of seeps out. It's comics, so it's not, it's like you're probably not actually bleeding out, but it's like comics blood. But it's enough for Corvid to stand up with his bloody knives. He looks down and he goes, how unsatisfying. Whoosh, he like woofs up his little feathery cloak and he runs off into the night. Come on, Rebel Riser, let's go. And he gets away.
I think you even see a little thought bubble above my head as I like pass out, going like, maybe he thought it was a deliberate, clever distraction. But you can tell from the lettering she doesn't believe that.
Not at all. And so that is our flashback to Fata Morgana and Trace, and how you had saved the people in the building and rescued Allison Corazon. We now will take our mid-game bio break. It is 22 after. Let's go ahead and take an 8-minute break here, and we will pick back up at 1/2 past. So we'll see you guys in 8 minutes. And I need to go find a YouTube video to throw in here for our wonderful pause. You guys go ahead and I'll do that work. It's completely inappropriate for the stream, but I'm going to share this video because this is the first thing I can come up with right off the top of my head. My apologies if you don't like. Turn my camera back on. See if it works. Yay! Good. Oh, can you guys see me? Because I can see me. All right, I'm seeing some head shakes. Yes, Patrick, yes. All right, fantastic. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Welcome back, everybody. So we'd reached the fold, as it were, in the comic book, right? We hit the staples, and that's why we took our break. There was, on the right-hand side of that break, there was a big advertisement for like Ovaltine or something. I'm not sure why that's even in there. Then we flip the page, and again, we see the looming threat that is Myrmidon. Readers home are like, finally, we see the throwdown, the thriller in Manila, except in Manila, it's more like New Gauntlet City. We see that Trace is hanging on like a cat to the underside of the floating disc upon which Myrmidon floats over the city. And then he circles back when he sees that the foes that he has challenged, Silver Maple and El Aguila Azul, have come back, are headed towards him. The throwdown in downtown. Thank you. That is wonderful. That's exactly what it is. In fact, we closed it. We're like, oh yes, that's what's on the cover of issue 3, the throwdown in downtown. It was there the whole time. We missed it until we realized that that's where it was all the time. And there they are, the two strapping heroes about to face down with Myrmidon. Now, we know where everyone else is. We know that Eidolon is in the sleek-looking. Oh, is this the white panel van? Kind of the van, or the tour van, as it were, or
Yeah.
is she? Yeah.
I think this is the tour van. It's all like kaleidoscope painted, but it is the originally the white panel van.
And Allison is driving, and I think that Fata Morgana, you're in the back of the van. Did Allison know that you were here, or and then she came to pick up Eidolon, or is this a thing where you just just showed up. Like you used your illusions to have you've hidden yourself until now.
Oh, I'm definitely going with hidden myself till now. That's much more fun.
Sweet. So Eidolon, you get in, your sister's like, okay, let's go. And then you look back in the rearview mirror, there's no one. You look back in the rearview mirror, there's Fata Morgana.
Yeah, it's one of those like eagle eye view driving down the road shot, inside shot where she appears, back to eagle eye view. The van is just like swerving all over the road. There's multi-symbol curse words coming out of word bubbles through the windows.
I think she just goes like, heard you were in trouble. And your mechanic overcharged for refitting the brakes.
I'm feeling pretty good about the brakes right now, honestly. Whew. So, wait, names. Morgan. I don't know. Do you have I suppose we'll step back. Do you have a secret identity? Would I know your real name?
I think you can know my real name at this point.
Okay.
You did recruit her. I'd say you had some people do research.
As some people
No, it's a good question.
Spider-Man's real weird about his identity.
Until he isn't, and then he is again.
Yeah, until the universe rewrites itself, and suddenly he's whatever. Anyways, Morgan, what the hell are you doing here? I mean, it's good to see you. Are you here to help?
Obviously. Why else would I be hiding in this van?
I don't know. There could be some cartel thing. No, it's not important. There's aliens, and they're coming to take over the planet. And wow, we could really use a hand.
How can I help? What's our current plan?
And so as you ask that question, we cut away to the van going down the highway, barreling towards the stadium, and Eidolon and Morgana, you both see there is like straight out of the 50s, the old UFO disc with the like bubble on top. That's what the consortia arrived in earlier today. It's taken off from the Aeon tower, and it is flying slowly towards the downtown stadium where this fight's going to take. Not downtown, we call it downtown, but it's actually Undertaker's room. But anyways, it's headed that way, and you see that there are a number of smaller little ships that are coming out of it. What do you do?
Is this still us?
Yes, I've stuck with you. I apologize. Sorry. I will use names more. My apologies. Eidolon and Morgana, you see that, and that, yeah. So that's your immediate thing that's just happened.
Come back in, Eidolon. There's the little ellipse who's a little light intergalactic diplomacy. I'm not real sure, but it would definitely be handy to have an asset that no one saw coming.
If you can find a way to help me get close, I can try and pick up on any divisions between them. Give us some leverage. Figure out who to talk to.
Good. Yeah. Maybe.
Unless they're a hive mind, then I'm only going to spot like self-deception, and it's more complicated.
Well, we'll figure that out when we get there. Aguila and Silver, they can hold Myrmidon's attention for a while. And yeah, we can circle through some of the underlings and try and find cracks to exploit.
Just like I'm having flashbacks to the birds, Allison says, as she looks up at all the little drones that are coming out of the giant UFO.
No, just look at the road. Remember, the birds can't get you inside. The birds can't get you inside.
Okay, good, yes. Yes. Clink, clink, clink. Plexiglass, reinforced. It's okay, I'm safe. And she keeps driving.
I'm gonna reach up and sort of darken and frost the top part of the windshield so she can't see up as much.
Nice. I didn't know you could do that. I had to pay to get my last windows tinted. Why didn't you do that for me?
Well, because it doesn't last.
Oh, that makes sense. Cool. So we cut away from you guys as you're now trying to deal with the backup for Myrmidon to see Eligila Azul and Silver Maple as you come into now. Chris, if you could just like remind us of this particular area where the fight's going to be thrown down? Because I remember it was like half destroyed during a previous session that you were in. So set the scene for us a little bit.
Okay. This is basically a broken down old warehouse in Undertaker's Row. There are a couple of holes knocked in the wall where Corvid, incidentally, was punched through a wall or two by Breitling in that big fight. So, like, maybe if there's still a few feathers, like, off his costume, like along some of those cracks, and it's basically, if you can think of an archetypal, like, broken down warehouse that's been the scene of at least one super battle already, that's kind of what this is. You can see sunlight through the roof. There are lots of cracks in the roof. There's a couple of large holes. There's at least one big hole in the wall. None of the doors fit in right. Most of the windows are at least partially broken out. But there's all sorts of, like, construction materials and pieces of pylon and things like that have been just sort of left here or put in storage here that make great things that you can jump off of and flip off of if you are inclined to jump and or flip, like Elegila Azul is.
Or possibly grab in your massive hands and swing like a bat. Those are all possibilities. I love that. Silver Maple, how do you arrive on the scene?
How do I arrive on the scene?
Yeah, what is our, like, shot? What's the panel when you arrive at this broken down warehouse?
Oh, I think I try to fit into one of the regular doors, but there's a gaping hole in the wall right next to that. After a moment, he thinks better, and just goes through the big hole, and we see a reverse shot of the Myrmidon floating down over our shoulders. Yeah.
Nice. Love it. Myrmidon looks at the two of you and he says, I thought that you had a whole team. And if this is all you've got to bring, this will be a very short fight. And several of his little Ioun drones come out and you can see they're starting to film, and then there's this, like, hologram that appears over the city of this particular fight, and he hops off of his disc and he starts stomping towards you, Elegila Azul and Silver Maple. What do you guys do? He totally ignores you, Tracy. He doesn't know you're there.
So I think Elegila Azul has noticed Trace at the end of the last issue because of her, but has kept quiet about it because she gave him the signal. So he presumes that she's going to do something properly sneaky but also heroic, and he is going to basically head straight for Myrmidon and try to engage his attention. And by engage, I mean, like, try to, like, kick and punch him in the head a lot.
I mean, that would probably get his attention, I think. Yeah.
So he's going to try and do a bunch of acrobatic, like, flips and crazy parkour, like wall run type stuff, and then, like, deliver this crazy drop kick.
All right. So I'm going to take a step back. I love the idea of the drop kick. That is super dope. I'm going to take a step back and suggest that we deploy the teamwork rules. My friends, it seems as if you're working together as a team in a conflict or battle. So we are going to engage those teamwork rules. Now, the teamwork rules and the basic moves work in concert. So one's like an overlay that acts on kind of a super move type of setup. And so you're still going to do the thing you're about to do. Those basic moves will continue and we'll trade back and forth. You'll still be rolling 2d6. However, layer on top of that is the spike and then the set and the spike and all that good stuff. So, you have a start a fight move? Let's do that before we get into teamwork rules.
Yeah, I have the move Indomitable. It's a defender move. It lets me, whenever I go into battle, I roll with daring, and I get hold that I can spend based on how well I roll.
Awesome.
And I even get hold on a miss, but if I miss, I only get one hold, and the MC will shift one of my tracks. So hopefully I won't have to trouble you with that.
No, it's no trouble at all. I promise. Roll with daring, my friend. There it is. That appears that you may have to trouble me with something.
Unfortunately, I believe that is the case. That will be a 5 on the dice plus his daring of 1, so that is a 6. So I get 1 hold, and you get to shift my tracks. One of my tracks, I guess.
I am that type of guy. And so as we see the big hologram of everything that's going on, we flash to the Aeon teams as they're calling, we don't understand why the True Colors are engaged in the consortium. We were trying to negotiate peacefully. They're creating an international interplanetary incident. And I'm going to move your trust track down to a -3. A -3. That's as low as it goes. Let me just say, you really should think about rolling, I don't know, trick someone or persuade someone or pierce the mask or defend, protect. You should think about that. That'd be good, right? You should do that thing right there, that very thing. So that is what you still have your hold. Teamwork move. So we figure out who the leader is. So the players should determine who, at the start of the battle, players should determine who the leader is. And that person will start the momentum. So who is the leader in this fight?
I feel like it's one of the two in the ring.
It's probably Aguila, right?
Unless his dropkick's just a feint. And in actuality, Silver Maple was the leader. But it's totally up to you guys.
I mean, Aguila Azul is presuming that he's kind of taken the lead in at least doing the physical fighting. He's presuming that several of you are also operating behind the scenes.
Okay, so the leader starts with the momentum. The momentum starts 0. When the leader first takes action, they may spend a team and serve. When you serve, you pass the momentum to another player of their choice and add 1 to the momentum. So let's go ahead and engage with that. I'm sorry, I zoned for a sec. Did we determine is Aguila Azul the leader? We all good with that, or did we? Okay, all right. So, would you like to go ahead and serve as you are making this abominable snowman roll? I don't know. I'm screwing it up.
The indomitable is, I think, is just
it's a pre thing. So you're going to actually do the drop kick now, but do you also want to serve?
I think so. I think he's going to I think he's going to sort of, just like we did in the Superior fight, like he's going to sort of pass that momentum on to Silver Maple immediately, since Silver Maple is the closest and most likely to engage in a follow-up.
Love it. So go ahead, and you are directly engaging a threat here with your drop kick of doom. Roll with daring. This is confidence aligned. Lucky for you.
Okay, that is an 8.
That is an 8. All right, on a direct confrontation with a 7 to 9, you get 1 choice.
Let's see.
You're going to resist or avoid their blows, take something from them, or create an opening.
I think at this stage I'm staying careful, so I want to resist or avoid their blows this time.
Okay, and you hit him, and that of course will affect in this game. Villains have determination, so you'll be dealing a blow to him and taking out some of his determination. And then you have served, which means that you are moving the momentum over to your compatriot, Silver Maple. You resist and avoid his blows. Those blows at this time, you like drop kick into him, he falls back a step, and then several of the Xyloon stones start to swarm around you, and there are all kinds of lasers that happen. Is this a thing where you imagine you dodge just perfectly out of the way of all the little red lasers?
Oh yeah, I mean he has uncanny agility. So like he is leaping, twisting, flipping. Just it's almost absurd that he's able to avoid actual light by doing that, but he does.
That's what we've come to expect from El Águila Azul. Silver Maple. Myrmidon is 7 feet tall. You are far, far taller. Águila Azul has distracted him. He's passed the momentum to you. So now you have a momentum of 1, but specifically, what are you doing? We'll talk about the teamwork stuff in a moment. What do you want to do?
I want to create some kind of advantage for my group, and here's how I'm going to try to do that. I yell out, I am your turnbuckles. I am your jungle gym. And the silver maple stretches out vines and things throughout this building, such that whenever Águila Azul needs a rope to bounce off of, there is a rope. And assumedly, whenever whenever Trace needs a high point to descend from, there is the appropriate high point.
That is the epitome of wield your powers to shift the situation here. So please roll with power. This is a confidence aligned move. Unfortunately, you are -1 on confidence, so you're rolling at that -1. You do get to roll power, which I think you're pretty good with.
Yeah, which is a +2, so we should be at a +1.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, re-roll selected. Looks like a 10, so 11.
Nice. That is fantastic. So with an 11, a 10 plus on wield your powers, you get to choose 2 of those options.
Oh, give me just a second to get to that page. Basic moves. Can you tell me the line?
Yeah, it's line 40.
Line 40. Okay. Neutralize an opponent or a threat, at least for now. I think we're gonna these winnowing branches and things, I think, are going to neutralize our opponent briefly.
Nice.
And we're gonna, let me see here. It's redundant to say we'll take hold of his mobility. We're going to create something useful from the environment as these things are moving, as the vines and branches are moving. They mold the metal of the building into extraneous parts that serve as these extra high points and turnbuckles and such.
I love it. I love it. Those move choices right along exactly with your intent. That's perfect. And so you now have a teamwork level decision to make. So if you have team, then you can set. So the next player has the momentum. You can spend team when you act to set, adding 1 to the momentum, or you can spend nothing to volley. In either case, passing the momentum to another player.
Oh, I want to set. I want to use that team. And I think as he's saying these words and doing this stuff, he gives Trace a nod, a subtle nod, as if to say, "Here's your opening."
Nice. And Myrmidon's reaction, if you neutralized him for a time, that was one of your options from using your powers. He is, he physically goes out and grabs some of these branches, but there are just so many of them. So he's trying to claw or punch his way through these, but you've created effectively a maze. It's confused him a little bit. He didn't see this. He thought that you guys would be going step to step, but you circumvented his little plan. And so now Trace, he never saw you coming. What is it that you wish to do?
Well, I've been clinging to the underside of this floating disc for some time now. Hashtag grip goals. So I've been getting a good feel for its center of gravity or its center of anti-gravity. perhaps. So I'll be like, okay, now's the time. And I will hoist myself up to the top, like doing a forward flip over. And still keeping with that momentum, I'll grab onto the other side and swing off again and use the weight of my body pivoting around that center of anti-gravity to throw the entire disc at some of the viney stuff or into Myrmidon's back. I mean, I just think ricocheting it off of some vines from my cool buddy is way cooler.
Yeah, I imagine they're kind of springy and they might be the perfect way to ricochet shot, little bank shot action. I love it.
Yep. So I'm going to blow my how do you do that
Oh,
for the
nice.
session to just make the impossible shot. And I will spend a team and spike, I think, if I've been set.
Fantastic. You've been set. And so when you spike, roll with momentum. You've got 2 momentum, right? And you spent a team to add it to make it to a 3rd. So you've got 3.
Yep. All right. That is an 8.
8. Okay. So on a 7 tonight, you get to one of those choices. Run a villain out of determination. Someone gets a team back, your choice, or shift your confidence or trust.
I'm going to run Myrmidon out of determination.
Okay. All right. So you whang him in the back. The momentum resets back to 0. It runs him out of determination, but as per the rules, it doesn't necessarily like completely KO him. However, it does put him in needed GTFO mode. So you slam him in the back. We see a little onomatopoeia of like crack along his back line there. He falls forward into the vines and drops down to his knees, and he looks around. He says, I call a forfeit! A forfeit! This pitiful human, she was not invited to this fray. And then the disc is like floating over towards him. And that's what he's trying, that is his ploy. He's going to try to legalese his way out of getting his butt handed to him. So you see a reaction from the 3 of you guys. Then we cut away from you to the scene on the highway. Right now, there are a number of those little drones that are zipping along underneath the huge UFO. And Leah, just to let you know, this was like the size of a building, the top of a building, like landed on the top of Aeon. So it is a very, very big ship. And the drones themselves are like the size of, say, a smart car, right? Like what are those little like eat cards. Those are just called smart cars, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they look like half a car. Like, where's the rest of your car? This is the whole car. It's like a bike, but enclosed. But all right, so that is kind of size different for what's going on. They're all shadows cast over the van as you guys are rushing towards you. You've almost made it to the warehouse. And so Eidolon and Fata Morgana, what is it that you guys would like to do? You're able to keep up with the fight because they've got the huge hologram that's broadcast over the top of the city, and you see that your teammates are doing rather well. But what is it that you want to do right now?
I think as we get closer, I want to keep these drones busy and distracted so they don't hamper us getting in or warn Myrmidon that we're coming.
All right. So
I have a delaying tactics move.
Okay, a delaying tactics move sounds awesome. You have the perfect move. When you're caught in a swarm of enemies, roll with power. you know?
I know. It's like I planned for this. Let's see. So that's 1. Let's do that thing. Oh, feck. Well, that's a 4.
All right. So the good news is that you get an XP. And also on a miss, you can remove 1 enemy from the fight. And I'll hold 2. I'll just write that down.
Hey, that gets me to 5 XP. Isn't that lovely?
Way to go! Great. It's awesome.
Yeah, whichever drone was patrolling the area over like the entrance to the warehouse that we're going for.
Okay, cool. So you do that, and you're able to delaying tactics with the drones that were coming near the warehouse to buy time for your friends to finish off Myrmidon. And as you do, I'm going to check in with Fata Morgana. Things going to happen, but I want to see, what is Fata Morgana doing?
Yeah, so I've got 2
Really-
ideas to pitch you, whichever one works better here. One is to try and figure out more about what's going on by, if there's a skylight on this thing, just trying to get in range of one of the drones to try and assess. But my other idea was giving a call to my sketchy drinking buddy and using my contacts in the underworld move to figure that there's someone around here, some aspiring supervillain who might have a lot more firepower than Aeon usually allows, that we might be able to use against this intergalactic threat.
Ooh, neat. Oh man, that darker knowledge is just calling my name. But yeah, that's the one I kind of dig. If you're okay with that one, that sounds pretty fun.
Oh, absolutely. I say I think I have someone who can help, and I'm going to call my friend Jesse here, and ask if he knows anyone, who he might have worked with or who might be active in the city, who's really been looking for a chance to get to test an invention that's not legal without consequences.
Okay, that's so you called your buddy Jesse, and I'm trying to make sure I understand. So we're doing darker knowledge. When you commune with the underworld, roll with power, and so cool. So you're calling out to Jesse. That's like you communing with the underworld. Let's have you roll with power, and then we'll figure out what those.
All right, and I'm rolling with the +1 because I've got a tie with Jesse, right? Or an additional +1 because of the tie.
Right, Jen, is that correct use of ties? Would a tie benefit the darker knowledge move in this aspect, or is tie more specifically for helping out type of moves? Let me restate. So there's a tie that Morgana has with Jesse the Puppeteer. She's currently engaging the move Darker Knowledge from the Tarnished Playbook. Would that tie give her a benefit in rolling with power on the Darker Knowledge move, or is that not really where we apply a tie? I want to make sure I'm applying that move, the tie rule as it was intended. You're muted, Jen.
I'm going to say go ahead here because it's more fun to be permissive. Kind of, sort of, darker knowledge isn't written to target people, but I'd allow it here.
Okay, cool.
Sweet.
Something, yeah.
All right, I'm calling my sketchy friend.
All right, Jesse the Puppeteer will answer the phone. Let's go ahead and roll that, and then we'll.
I've got a 9.
A 9er, okay.
Yeah.
On a 7 to 9, you get to pick one.
Yeah, I'm picking some underworld assistants. I think I'm kind of chatting with on the phone. I'm like, I know how these guys roll. Like, there's someone. Don't tell me no one's got a death ray. That they haven't been able to test in the city limits. And during an alien attack, lend it to us. Like it could seem like anything, right? And I'll give you a full report after the fact.
So I've got good news and I've got bad news, Morgie. Here's the deal. Maximilian, not really available right now, kind of out of country. However, I've got somebody that if you are willing for me to call him in, there's this guy who's got a serious hate on for the consortia. His name's PbtA. What do you think? I mean, he'll totally owe me for it, so it's kind of a win-win here. You know what I'm saying?
All right, and just out of character, what do I know about that name? Because I can see other players
Yeah.
reacting.
So PbtA, in the first session, Eidolon was giving a concert at Pride, at the Pride Parade. There was like a festival going on, and PbtA showed up and called them all a bunch of deplorables, and they had to kick his ass. So he's kind of a D-bag. But yeah. That's who Puppeteer has access to right now. Some underworld assistance.
Yeah, I kind of shoot a look at Eidolon in the front and go like, look, like we want there to be a planet to beat him up again on in the future. So yeah, call him in.
Nice. Yay.
Fine. Just make sure he doesn't get on camera.
This is the worst. Why? Why him? Cool. So PbtA will soon appear into the fray. And you hang up that call, and then all of a sudden the van skids to a stop, and you're like a block away from the warehouse. And Alice is like, sorry. We just had a blowout. And that is when you look across the street and you see, staying in the shadow, with several knives in his hand, is Corvid. And he points to you, Eidolon, he goes, you're gonna die!
I think I say to Eidolon, I can't believe our lives wouldn't be better if you'd just done a duet with him once.
Couldn't carry a tune in a bucket if his life depended on it, and unfortunately all of ours may now.
So, yeah, we cut back to the warehouse, but the first panel that we see is a close-up of a couple of the feathers that we saw before from and there's this jewel case of a broken CD. We have a picture of Corvid with his mask pulled up, and he's singing with such happiness. Like, he looks so happy to be this joyful moment for him. But the CD is broken, cast aside, and then Myrmidon's foot steps onto it as he calls out again, no, disqualification. And he's trying to summon up his little disc that just nearly broke his back. So
First, you want to have a whole team, and now you're scared of me?
He turns, he's 7 feet tall, and he's like pointing down at you. I'm not scared of you, little thing. This, however, is a breach of contract. Obviously. His little disc floats up and goes, never mind. The consortia will destroy and level this entire place. And then you see the like, he's looking up like, wait, where are my forces? Some of them seem to have been perhaps distracted or delayed. So yeah, what do you guys do as he's now like trying to call his extra forces, and he's not fighting you anymore? You wouldn't sucker punch him.
Well, Eligila is going to like engage him and say, you challenged our entire team. You have only faced 3 of us so far, and already you attempt to cowardly flee this field of battle. You have lost the trust of your forces. That is why they do not attend you. They have seen your cowardice. They have seen your attempts to escape your imminent defeat.
It seems as if you're trying to persuade him to give up, which happens to be a trust-aligned move.
I am
Good
totally
luck.
trying to do that, and it's going to go horribly wrong.
Yeah, it's going to go so well. I mean, wrong well.
I will get XP out of this.
This is a -3 to your roll, my friend.
Okay, let's see. Okay, now if I'm trying to convince him, I roll humanity, correct? Or is it genius?
If you're trying to convince, like you're trying to persuade him here, so you are rolling with humanity.
Okay. All right. So that's a base 0 and then a -3 to whatever I roll. Woohoo. Okay.
Cut the tension with a knife. I'm just staring at two purple fake polyhedrals. Oh,
That is a 4 on the dice. -3 is a 1.
You have rolled an uno, El Águila Azul, an un. So the good news is that you get an experience point. And let me double check that persuade someone. Okay, good. It doesn't have any that's the thing that happens. So you say all that, and then La Mascara Encantada is flying out of nowhere, and she like lands with a drop kick and hits Myrmidon right in the back of the head and just knocks him out cold. She's stolen your thunder. She stole your victory from your very hands. She turns and she looks at the Ioun drones and she says, "Rest now, Earthlings, for I have saved the world. These fine assistants of mine have served me well, setting Myrmidon up for the coup de grace. May all return to your lives." And then she starts to walk off. What do you do?
El Águila is stunned. He's just like, as it sort of dawns on him slowly what she's done, like you can almost hear the subtle cracking of his heart.
Silver Maple, you see this. What do you do?
Oh, I say I'm very confused. Does that mean we have to enslave all of humanity? I was not clear on the stakes in this fight.
I mean, if we enslave all of humanity, then the humanity's orders are to act with ordinary free will like they were doing before, in perpetuity. And we're good. I'll clap a shoulder on El Águila's shoulder and go, "Has she ever done anything like this to you before?"
No, she was my mentor. She rescued me from the clutches of Dr. Maximilian. She taught me all I know of being a hero, of being a luchador. I do not understand this.
Perhaps there's more we need to discover. Maybe there's a good explanation for it.
Yes, there must be. And he's completely out of sorts. Like he's just like normally he would be striding around perfectly calm, knowing exactly what he should do, and now he's just sort of completely off he's rocked on his heels, like he doesn't know which direction to go in.
Is it possible that Trace is trying to comfort or support her teammate in his time of need right now?
For sure.
All right, roll with humanity.
All right, I'm gonna do it.
That is a 1 for you.
Guys, why you gotta do this to me? They flew perfectly out of the cup, away from the catcher. There we go.
4 dice don't count.
Out of the ring. They're both zeros now. Goodness. So I got a 10 plus.
Nice.
Because I rolled 2 6s, and it was very nice. So
It's a good thing there's not a like over supporting.
yeah, no, I'm pretty comfortable with my decision to not
I like it.
make
So
comics
on a
support.
10 plus, you can give them +1 team or shift one of your tracks, and then you also on a hit they hear you, so you choose one. You can mark XP. They mark XP. They may take a you may take a tie with them, or if they open up to you, they can shift one of their tracks. So what do you want to choose as that one option, and then you can get your 10 plus option too.
So Aguila needs to choose whether he marks XP, takes a tie with
They
me,
choose one. Sorry, I missed that.
or shifts one of his tracks, and then I choose to give Aguila +1 team because
Apologies. Sorry.
that is okay. Boom.
So over on basic moves, Aguila, you need to choose one of the three options on rows 70, 71, and 72. One of those options. Chris, do you see those options? Okay, cool.
Sorry, I had muted myself. I do see the options. I think I want to mark the XP because that'll kick me up to 5. So I'll actually do something.
All right. Don't want to move that trust factor. That sounds good. You don't have to open up. That's always good. So go ahead and mark that XP, and now you get to make a choice from the 10 plus. Trace.
All right. I have already gone ahead and given Aguila +1 team.
Nice. Sweet. Cool. So over Maple, you asked about the stakes of the fight. Trace, you supported Aguila Azul, and he learned a little something, and then got some more teamwork. Looks like this fight might be over. We cut outside to see Corvid as he rushes forward towards you, Eidolon. Your sister is totally freaked out by Corvid, and she is like trying to climb out of the van the other way. Eidolon, what do you do?
Allison, just stay in the van. It's safer in here. And I'm getting out, like, angrily striding up to Corvid, pointing finger in his face. Do you know how fucking expensive those tires were? Those were brand new. Have a tour coming up in a couple of weeks. What the hell am I going to do now?
That's amazing. I think he wants to cut you with his little birdish knives. By the way, the handles, they all like have like little crow heads on them. They're totally themed.
Yeah,
really easy to figure out what he did.
Because I assumed he was exactly that douchey.
He's totally that guy. Sweet. So yeah, let's have you do that thing. I think. Well, you were just screaming while he's directly confronting you. So, other than pitching a fit, is there an action that you're trying to take against him? Because it doesn't look like he much cares about your feelings, other than your feeling of pain.
No, he's sort of in a screaming match with this guy that he doesn't quite consider a supervillain or, you know, a major threat.
Oh, cool. So yeah, he comes rushing forward, and I think he throws a couple of blows, but it's like he's not actually connected with you. It's more of like he's lashing out, and he says, "You don't understand real talent. The Corvid whale.
You don't understand music."
Nice. So, Fata Morgana, as the two of them are having some kind of screaming match, you see, and I've dropped on row 14 of the NPCs and stuff, a picture of Superia. He's got kind of the comb back hair. He's really broad-shouldered, doesn't have a cape but can fly. And you see him streak across the sky in like his gray and black and green uniform there, and he strikes the consortia disc and like just basically like a cannonball, like slams into it, and the thing wobbles a little bit in the sky, and it starts heading down like it perhaps may crash somewhere in Undertaker's Row. What do you do?
Oh man, like he shows up late. He makes a mess. Uh, you know, I'd say I'm through with relying on villains, but I actually have a plan to both help out here and disrupt this fight. I'd like to create an illusion of like a very puppy doggish fan who's going to approach Corvid and go, "Are you Corvid? Like my brother is in that building. Are you strong enough and musically adept enough to help?"
Okay. That's amazing. And I think that it's just a straight up trick. You're using your powers to enhance it, but at the core of it, you're performing a trick here. So let's have you trick someone. Roll with genius. This is trust aligned. And your trust is a -1. So you're actually rolling flat. So roll
Yeah,
zero.
flat roll for me, but the little
Roll
girl
those
has
two grays.
extremely puppy-like eye, and definitely like has a little like Corvid like patch on her jacket.
Oh.
Oh,
I
this.
want you to succeed.
Oh gosh. Oh, no. Wow, what did I mess up that gave away she's not a real fan, but a poser?
Oh man, that's good. That's good. So yeah, she comes up there, she says the little bit, and Corvid looks and he says, "Oh, that is James O'Barr's crow. That's not me." Wipes his hand as he passes right through her. He says, "Ah, you're afraid of me using your illusions, Eidolon. You're pitiful. You're weak."
You're the pitiful one. You have, what, like 10 followers? You can't do shit.
10 followers? Oh, all of yours, they're like Russian bots. And during this squabble, I think Fata Morgana, yeah, I think I'm going to adjust your track here. So I think your ability to trick someone is just going down the drain. So I'm going to put you at trust -2. That is the move that I place upon you. You're a lowly worm. No one trusts you anymore. How could your illusions even work? These tricks, everyone sees through your tricks. Corvin now, I think at this point, he's going to slap you.
Which of us?
By you, he means Avalon. I just realized I should use not a pronoun, but the you of Eidolon. Because that's
Going
it.
to what?
It just slaps you.
Fine. Fine. This has gone too far. This can't go anymore. You want to end this? We will end this right now. He's going to turn around and stride back to the van and open up the back door and reach in and pull out the streaming camera and get it set up. We're going to the people. They're going to decide once and for all who the true artist is.
Cool. Cause and you go around to the van, when you come back around, he's like pulled out this really big gun, and then he sees you have a streaming camera and he puts it back behind his cloak again.
Yeah, I'm getting it set up. I'm announcing a live stream, and we're gonna have a sing-off.
Sweet. So you're gonna have a sing-off. Fata Morgana, Superior, you failed to trick Corvid. You see Superior, he's now flown after the consortia ship, and it is like a couple blocks away from you. It's now crash landed and it took out an entire S-Mart. It's where people shop smart, and just like took it out. And that's the thing. So and then inside you guys hear this like sound of a careening noise, something that crash lands a few blocks away from you. So your victory may be short-lived. Trace, you're there comforting Elegila Azul. Myrmidon's defeated. He lays at your feet. What do you wish to do?
So, guys, he was checking the sky for something. And I thought I heard it crash somewhere. We should get a hustle on.
Cool. So Silver Maple, you're good with that. Iligila Azul, do you follow along?
Yeah, he follows like shoulders sort of slumped.
As much as they can be, because they're so bulky.
It's true.
But you can noticeably tell his shoulders have slumped because he is wearing the cape, and it accentuates the fact that like his shoulders have gone from this to.
Oh no, Mila, so sad.
Oh, such a sad eagle. Okay, so you guys come outside and you see that there's a streaming camera set up, and Eidolon and Corvid are like facing each other, and you're not sure if it's a dance off or a sing off or what. Do you guys go on, ignore that, or what do you do, Trace?
I mean, Eidolon certainly has Corvid fully occupied. So Corvid's not doing anything harmful to the citizenry right now. And that means Eidolon's doing his job. So I think I'm not even gonna shout like break a leg, Eidolon, or anything like that. I think I'm just gonna make handy use of the Silver Maple to get a little bit of height on the world.
Nice, you did the kind of climb up onto his shoulder thing. Oh, that's awesome.
Yep, I'm like holding onto some like twig that is coming out of the top of his head. You're like, oh shit, that S-Mart is gone.
Oh man, I used to shop there.
But yeah, I think we'll ignore the sing off that's about to happen, more or less, and look for citizens in need of help.
All right, Fata Morgana, do you want to join up with the rest of the team that's leaving Eidolon to distract Corvid, or do you want to stick around for the sing?
100% I am ditching this and joining the rest of the team. And I'm also going to kick the camera as I go, but like make an illusion camera that's still focused on them so that it's shooting from like the floor.
Rude. So rude.
Make it look really smooth.
I feel like we need to cliffhanger here, if only so that like we come into next session and we're like, how did the sing off go?
I agree. Let us cliffhanger here. So we cliffhanger. Dan, I know you won't be joining us for the last session. I just want to say thank you so much. I'm sorry we didn't feature Silver Maple as much this episode. I feel a little guilty about that. But you were and are a brilliant player, and I really have enjoyed having you aboard for the
I've enjoyed being here. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good. So let's do their end of session stuff, and then I will pass the baton to our lovely game designer. At the end of each session, take a moment to reflect on how the events of the game went and what big changes happened or seem to be on their way. Choose someone you're tied with and ask them one of these questions. This is on the basic moves. Row 122 is where the move starts. The questions are, how did my actions this session affect the community? How did I affect the team this session? And how did I affect you this session? After they've answered, they shift one of your tracks by one. So, who would like to go first? All right, Patrick, you get to go first.
Let's see. Go with Trace. No, I don't have to have Trace because I keep being disappointing in front of her.
You keep being disappointed in me.
No, I keep being disappointing in front of you.
Oh, okay.
Then I'll go with Leah Feta. How did my actions this session affect the community?
I mean, I'm less confident that this is a clever, distracting Corvid thing or that he's the biggest threat. So, you know, I think Eidolon's putting his own stuff first, and tell me what you think sounds right. I'd either be up to move your trust down one or your confidence up one. I think that's what you're trading off against each other a little bit. So I'd be game to make either shift.
I do think they both make sense. A lot of this is film, so maybe trust.
That's legit. All right. Yeah, go ahead and move that to -1 then.
That's fair.
And I was going to point mine back at you and ask, since we were had a good van adventure together, how did I affect the team this session? How's the chance you took on me been panning out?
I think it's probably going well. You helped Eidolon have the confidence to like drive towards this whole situation, and at the end there, and I think going probably into the next one, a bit of calling him on his shit will probably help shift him towards a more useful role in the team.
I'm so glad you didn't spot the camera thing then. So which shift feels right to you?
Yeah. We'll go with trust. I'll move your trust back up.
All right. So let's go to El Aguila Azul.
Sorry, I had to find my mute control. Okay. All right. I think I'm going to ask my questions of Silver Maple, since he and I were in that big fight there at the end. How did I affect you this session?
I think in an ultimately positive way. I think I saw you demonstrate some vulnerability after your teacher sort of stole victory from your/our hands, and that is something that I think Glenn needs to see demonstrated sometimes, especially by people he admires. Got some emotional bleed. All right, so that is how you affected me this session. And after they have answered, they shift one of your tracks one. What seems right to you? Let's see. I think you know what? I think your trust wants to go back up one. Does that sound all right to you?
That sounds fine to me.
All right. I'll let you switch it. I don't want to touch anybody else's player sheet.
Thank you.
Trace, how did my actions affect the team this session?
I think that the Silver Maple managed to pull out some great support in that big fight. I feel like it could have gone a lot worse without him, because Myrmidon was not a joke. Although we punked him hard.
Yeah.
But then we got kind of punked hard. But that wasn't your fault. So I think that you've continued to prove your role on the team, and it was good.
Sweet.
Cool. Jen, what about you?
Honestly, I'm gonna pick on Silver Maple because it's the last time I'll get his opinion on anything. How did I affect the team this session?
I think you brought the team together. Like, you were comforting and supporting Elakila Asul. It was important at the time. I mean, it was important, and yeah, I think it also, like, the Silver Maple is very bad at emotional intelligence, it turns out. So it was super helpful. It was super good to have you there for the team doing that labor. And also, like, you just wrecked the bad guy, which was super cool.
Nice, thank you. Do you want to shift one of my tracks?
Yeah. Let's see here. I think if that was televised, I imagine the your trust might go up one.
Okay.
Since people on the street sort of saw, wow, this person knows what they're doing.
They certainly know how to hit an alien with his own vehicle.
Cool. All right. Everybody had that opportunity, so let's bring the actual mechanics to a close, and I hand the baton to Jen for the playtest questions.
Yeah, excellent. All right. Now, Chris, what do you think worked well this session?
The teamwork moves. I love the teamwork setup. Like, that is one of my favorite mechanics in this game.
Awesome, thank you. Dan, what do you think worked this session?
I will definitely echo Chris. That teamwork situation worked out really well. I also, I don't know if we had gotten into a situation where the bad rolls just kept coming, previously, like we did in that flashback, and that was, man, that was that was a nail biter. That was spookums. So that worked really well for me.
Very cool. All right. Leah, what do you think worked well this session?
I really like the specificity of a lot of the playbook moves when I heard them go off. And it kind of, especially jumping in the middle of a 4-session playtest, it helped me get a handle on the characters much faster, I thought. So I liked the distinctiveness.
Cool. All right, Patrick.
So I thought with Trace, you were overconfident, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one you got. I thought that worked out really interestingly. I love those couple of moves that you made at that overconfident and, ending up at like a 16 or whatever, which is just a mind-blowing what the hell is happening for PbtA. But you have like a thing in there that pushes back against that. And those having to make those 12 plus choices was really interesting to see.
Very cool. Rich, what do you think worked well?
Well, Patrick took mine. I've really enjoyed the overconfident and seeing the extra moves and how they affected the fiction. So, yeah, that was like the one I was like, yeah, I want to see this, and it was as advertised. It was really juicy. And not mechanical, but what worked well with this session was like the whole Corvette Eidolon thing. That was just like a super love that. That was so fun.
Nice. All right, I'm going to bring it back up to Chris. What do you think didn't work this session and why?
I don't think anything really tripped me up this session. Like, I hate not to give you any kind of constructive feedback, but everything seemed to click pretty well, I thought.
All right, that's fine. I'd rather that you just say how you feel rather than try real hard to make something up. That's fine. Dan, is there anything that you think didn't work this session?
Very similar answer. I can't think of anything that really threw me off my game. I feel like I could play this tomorrow with a different group and feel on my feet. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Leah, is there anything that you think didn't work this session?
I think the thing that startled me was realizing, because of the additions of the 2 tracks, that the best I could do was roll flat. And like most of my moves has me rolling at -1 or -2. So I think before the next session, I'm going to spend more time reading over carefully for what I can do to shift track. But it just felt like for a bit, I was looking like going, gosh, I mean, I'm pretty game for misses as a player. And I was like, wow, like this feels like I'm in a death spiral, because it feels like screwing everything up is going to lower my confidence and trust.
Yeah, and not every GM shift is negative. It's just that they sure all were in that scene.
Yeah.
Well, I bought them, certainly. Like, they seemed true to the fiction. I was just like,
absolutely.
Oh, shoot. Like, I started scrolling through going like, what pumps these stats? My gosh.
Yeah, yeah.
I also think we didn't roll to help each other very much, which might have ameliorated some of that, like, feeling.
Well, I mean, you don't roll to help. When you help out, you spend team. But yes.
Never mind.
Although we don't have ties with each other, so it wouldn't have done anything. So we really need to have some like downtime scenes with each other, or some Pierce the Masks or something, where we can get a good solid opportunity to take a tie.
Also, I'll point out, like, our bad rolls were like really, really, really bad.
Oh yeah.
Like, there was no saving a couple of my rolls.
I rolled like 3 6s in a row. Speak for yourself. Then I deleted my dice.
It's tough. Does Roll for Your Party have a dice jail? I mean, I know that you can.
I'll
Just
put in
delete
that
them.
feature request.
Well, good. All right. Thank you, Leah, for your feedback. Leah, sorry. Patrick, anything you think didn't work this session?
I think I'll sort of agree with Leah and push it back further through the other two sessions of I think we've spent most of this campaign with our tracks as a group trending heavily negative. Like really, really negative every session. And it feels like all we can sort of do to push them back up to 0. Like Rich had to come in and GM Fiat someone at +2. And I don't know if that's a style or mechanics or what, but it's like Leah was saying, it's a little distressing sometimes to look at the chances for your rolls and be like, oh, everyone's way in the negatives for everything.
Yeah, I wonder if some of this isn't that we're not engaging in enough downtime in this game.
Yeah. So I agree. There's not enough downtime. Like I did a flashback of action scene and then brought you to present with action scene. I have not opened it up for you guys to have downtime. That's one thing that didn't work. And that was my choice. I don't think that's a mechanics thing. And the other thing is I chose, like I wanted to, this is going to make me sound really terrible, but like I wanted to explore that spiral just to see how the game felt. And so I was choosing to push tracks down a little bit because it's a playtest. So like I'm going to skip some time and we're going to kind of reset a number of the tracks and then maybe put one person at one extreme, one at another next time. So it's not a thing I would normally do, but that was my mindset. It was like, okay, I just want to, I think I know how this would go, but let me actually see it live and see what it feels like. And I could feel it too when I was looking at the -3 trust. I'm like, that was a terrible idea, Rich. Why did you do that? I'm like, well, I did it because I wanted to see what that would be like. And it's not great. It's not great.
Yeah.
What's Alexi?
That's testing, man. That's what it's good for. So thanks for fessing up.
Yes, totally cop to it. That was my what didn't work for me is the GM should not choose to move tracks down often or frequently. That should be a not your first impulse type of deal. Alexi, I don't know if you can hear, but Corvid was featured quite a bit in tonight's session. Okay, bio break, you got the thing. All right, good. You got the 411.
Cool. So yeah, cool. Then back up to Chris. How did the game make you feel this session?
Well, I was feeling really, really good up until the point where I had to role play that just breaking heart of Elegila. Oh, this is working great. We totally punked out that super badass villain, and then betrayal. So it was good and bad feels in the right way.
Nice. Okay. Dan, how did the game make you feel this session?
I think I mentioned before that flashback scene was a real nail biter. There was, it was a little anxiety provoking in a cool way. And then later in the game had some empathy, sadness for Aquila Azul. But yeah, these are all things that make sense to me.
All right, Leah, how did the game make you feel?
I had a pretty good time. I literally got my ass kicked, but it felt like it was a nice beat in what could be a longer arc, right? So my main concern is like, will there be moments where my character can succeed at things in the future? But like, it was a lot of fun and a pretty action-packed ride. And I think what's a mix of a compliment for the system and the GM. I did not believe when you said we would finish up ahead of time, because many games I play don't, and I find that very frustrating. And when I recount this in more detail to Alexi later, I think he's going to be surprised we finished up in time. It's very story dense without going over it all.
Well, good. I definitely hate when combat gets really prolonged and it doesn't feel cinematic anymore. You know, once you've rolled to hit the orc with your axe 2 or 3 times, the glamour really wears off. So that's something that I really wanted to make sure wouldn't happen in Project Lycra, because boy, just get on with it. Just want the story to keep moving. So thank you for your feedback. Patrick, how did the game make you feel?
I feel like I keep hitting the mute button at the wrong time. No, I had a ton of fun with it. I thought this session was definitely like exciting and funny in a good mix. But also, as it got further in it, and I was definitely having fun with Eidolon and fun with the interaction with Corvid, but it was also, like, as we got further into it, it was increasingly painful to see how Eidolon's, like, instincts and knee-jerk reactions to things are sort of proving his critics right. Like, that he's got a lot of hang-ups and wrong reactions that are making him not the best choice for a superhero in some of these situations. And it was, while I was having a great time with Corbett, like I said, it was that sort of dual feeling in the back of my head of like, oh god, this guy's terrible. So it was thorny, it was neat.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Would you call that a dramatic tension?
Yeah, definitely. It's something I want to explore to some sort of climax next time.
Awesome. Exciting. Rich, how did the game make you feel this session?
I really enjoyed how quickly the teamwork moves help to resolve a fight that in a comic book felt like, yeah, this is about when this fight would end. And so the moves layer and then the teamwork moves over layer worked really well in sync, and that was very satisfying. I didn't feel like I, as the GM, needed to like stretch or shorten any aspect of the fight to make it close up the right way. Does that make sense? Just making up words. I don't know. Like, that's how my brain works. But how it made me feel, there were a couple moments I felt like I threw out a hard choice, but I didn't follow up on it. And I don't know like I felt weird, like the whole you have to choose the mother or the child thing, and then I didn't follow up on it. I was disappointed in myself that like I couldn't loop back to that somehow. Yeah, so that was a feeling that was in my head. Like, well,
okay,
you went there, but like you didn't follow up. So.
all right. Well, yeah, one thing that sort of jumped out to me this session, I think worked well. I think that we sort of felt each other out pretty quickly. Having a new player on the team can always be a little bit like, who are you? Who are you? Who are they? But we had a lot of good touchstones. So I think that worked out pretty well. It didn't work in why this session. So I noticed that when I rolled a successful comfort and support for Aguila, that Chris used that opportunity to shift one of his tracks away from Zero. And I was like, huh. And it felt weird. It felt like snatching a failure from the jaws of success, but it also felt like a loophole that can be used in interesting ways. So, like, not entirely played as intended, but meh. But it does mean fictionally that my successful comfort and support made him feel worse.
Well, I think I had, and this might have been wires crossing, like I had thrown out the, I'm going to lower that confidence value down, like before you'd gotten to the comfort and support part. Like I had thrown that out.
Yeah, he ended up taking XP. That's what he took from the comfort and support.
Ah, okay. Okay.
The lowering the confidence was a response to, I didn't do anything mechanically when I pulled the super dick move of having La Mascara Encantada steal the victory away from him. And so he
I don't feel like that was necessary, but it's interesting. Okay, cool. So I misheard.
Yeah, the wires just crossed. I had posted it in the chat, like just as you had come on with the comfort and support move. So I didn't mean it to mean like that was what I was taking away from comfort and support.
Okay, cool.
Just on the basis of like him being betrayed by his mentor, he was like he lost confidence in himself, and that was kind of a
Deflated.
Yes.
So sad. Okay, cool. And yeah, as usual, I come into these games being like, God, I hate this time slot. I just want to go for a walk instead. I can't. And then like 30 minutes later, I'm having a good time playing the game. So that's always a good feeling, that turnaround. So thank you so much, everyone, for your feedback and for playing with me. This was fun, as usual. And I will pass things back to Rich.
We have one more session left of Project Lycra, at least for July. This is the game that I really, really enjoy running, so don't be surprised if it shows up on calendars coming up soon. Thank you all so much for playing. Dan, it's been an absolute pleasure. Leah, thank you for joining us. Look forward to playing with you again next week. And the rest of you guys, you're fine. You're adequate. Good job. I'll stop the live stream now.
Okay.